This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. You chose to hit play on this podcast today. Smart choice. Make another smart choice with Auto Quote Explorer to compare rates from multiple car insurance companies all at once. Try it at progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Not available in all states or situations. Prices vary based on how you buy.
If your roof starts to leak or your floors really squeak, you live in a money pit. Money pit.
If your basement needs a pump or your place looks like a dump, you live in a money pit. Money pit. Pick up the telephone.
Fix up your home sweet home by calling 888-MONEY-PIT. The Money Pit is presented by Dyche Coatings. Now here's Leslie Segretti.
Coast to coast and floorboards to shingles, this is the Money Pit. I'm Leslie Segretti, joined as always by Jim Kenzie, best partner and producer in the business. How are you doing, Jim?
Oh, just keep those checks coming, Leslie.
I think you're supposed to pay me for being so nice.
Oh, that's how it works, yeah.
That's the way it goes.
You got this whole PR thing backwards. Okay. What do you got going on in your world, Leslie?
I'm trying to figure out all the things I should be doing with my extra hour. Thanks, daylight savings. I feel like that's, I don't know what I'm trying to describe it as, but I want to say like a non-negotiable. Like it doesn't really make a difference. Like it's the same more. You're doing more.
Yeah, it throws my clock off because then I'll be, 7 o'clock. I want to be in bed. Takes a while to adjust for me.
It does, but you should be out like bowling or doing something fun or doing a home improvement project.
Oh, is it because I'm half Polish? Is that why you said that, Leslie? Is that, huh? I'm proudly half Polish, young lady. And a hell of
I don't think
bowler.
I knew that. I think I might have said polka band had I known that.
Well, the other half's Sicilian, so we can go round and round and round there.
Well, whatever you guys are all doing with your extra time, as I laugh about that, but use it wisely, you guys. It's getting darker earlier. There's so many things you could be tackling with that extra time. But for me, it means I leave for work in the dark and I return from work in the dark. So welcome to the dark times, my friend.
Leslie Segretti.
Anywho, you guys, so much to get done. Let's talk about home improvement. Are you guys thinking about upgrading your home, but maybe you're not sure where you should be spending that money wisely? Well, we're going to break down the top 5 home improvement projects that will deliver the biggest bang for your buck, from garage doors to kitchen refreshes, and how much return you could see when it does come time to sell. Also ahead, are you thinking of hiring a contractor for your next big project? Well, don't just go with a friend of a friend or whoever gives you the cheapest quote. We're going to share insider tips to help you hire the right pro, including those key questions that you should be asking before you hand over a deposit. From licenses to contracts to red flags, we have your contractor checklist ready. And if you think that you are done with your yard work for the year, well, not so fast. We've got some last outdoor chores that you need to knock out before the winter settles in, from protecting the grass and the garden beds to storing the hoses and the tools. We have a checklist that's going to save you time, money, and your back when spring rolls around. So a lot to tackle around the house this time of year, regardless of where in the country you are. So let's get to the show and start helping you with your projects. Give us a call at 888-MONEY-PIT. Jim, who's up first?
Leslie, Tracy in Florida's on the line and has taken a chance with some crown molding. Tracy, are you doing this yourself? What's going on there?
So I wanted to install crown molding. I am not handy at all, and I was looking into how to install it, and I saw that you could install the high-density styrofoam, like the poly, I forget what it's called.
Oh, yeah, you're talking about that foam trim, right?
Yes, and it got good reviews, and it looks kind of like real, and it's easier to install. I just don't know if it's a good thing to do.
Yeah, I think so. Crown molding from a carpentry perspective is kind of a super difficult carpentry job because you have to cut a compound miter to do that. And then you also have to cope it, which means you kind of make one piece of the molding, which is interesting because you kind of have to tilt the molding and kind of put it upside down. It's a very complicated way. It's like a compound miter cut. And it's awesome if you can use a compound miter saw or even a hand saw with like a little box that's helpful for it. But it is a bit confusing to kind of do the math in your head and visually see how it will come together, especially if this is a project you haven't done before. So out of wood, it's complicated for a beginning do-it-yourselfer. And that's why these foam moldings have seen such a big boost to DIYers, because they're easy to install, they're easy to cut, and you put them up with caulk. I mean, you're using the caulk as an adhesive, really, to hold it in place, and you put a couple nails in it just to kind of tack it in place while it dries. And as long as you were planning on painting that molding anyway, the foam really makes great sense, because once it's painted and installed, you can't tell that it's not wood. So it's definitely a do-it-yourself project. If you wanted to have one where you saw the wood grain, then really traditional wood crown molding is pretty much the only way to go. But that's definitely a DIY project. The foam, paint it white, it looks really sharp, and it's something you can absolutely do yourself.
Oh, great. That's what I need.
Yeah, just make sure, you read the instructions, make sure you have the tools on hand. A simple miter box with a hand saw is really helpful to give you those clean cuts. It's not very expensive when you buy a simple one. The other thing you have to do is if there's any mistakes here and there, you can just fill those gaps with the caulk as well, and it kind of hides all of those mistakes. And then once you paint it, no one's ever going to know. Just use that latex caulk and make sure you have proper caulking trowel. You know what I'm talking about. It's your finger. You got 5 of them on each hand, so it's definitely a great tool. You've already got that one.
Thank you so much.
All right, it's going to look great. Take care and good luck with that project, Tracy.
DSW, Designer Shoe Warehouse, is the one-stop shop for all your footwear needs. With sneakers, boots, and everything in between for every style, mood, and occasion, you'll definitely find shoes that get you at prices that get your budget. DSW has what you need, but more importantly, they have what you didn't even know you wanted. You never know what you'll find at DSW. Find the shoes that get you at prices that get your budget at DSW stores or DSW.com.
We've got John in Arkansas with a floor leveling question, Leslie. John, can you fill us in a little bit?
I've put a recent addition on the back of my house. It's about 16 by 16, and it's a pier foundation. Where it butts up to the house is a slab foundation. Due to unlevelness, part of the floor is perfectly level with the slab, but at one corner of it, where I'm going to try to tie 2 LVP products together, it's about a half an inch of concrete is higher than where it's going to tie in. Do I need to grind that down?
Well, what kind of flooring are you planning to use once you're all said and done here?
LVP. Laminated vinyl plastic.
All right, so what you could do is use a floor leveling compound, and basically you put the floor leveling compound on and you bring up that area that's a half an inch lower, and you just kind of build it up to even out that edge. You kind of feather it out, though, over the feet or 2 to 3 feet kind of around the perimeter of where that transition was. This way you're creating a more gentle transition, and you should be able to floor right on top of it.
That is a problem. The problem is that the door going to the outside is right at the point where it's a half-inch difference. The sweep is right on the LVP.
Yeah, right, as luck would have it. All right, so in other words, if you were to add for the leveling compound there, that floor is going to be too thick. So 2 options here. You can either cut and reframe that part of the door, or maybe just call it a day and make it a transition. I mean, is it possible that you can have a transition strip between these 2 sections, with the understanding being that one section is slightly higher than the other? This way you really wouldn't have to worry about changing the level of the floor, but it would make for a definitive visual break between the 2 rooms.
Well, I am going to have 2 different floor finishes. I was going to use a transition
exactly like a saddle.
Correct. But I didn't know if that would be enough to make up the difference.
Yeah, I mean, well, not by itself it's not going to work. You kind of have to build up that lower side, so when you do put that saddle in, you're going to end up with a spot where the floor is a half inch higher, so you need to put that additional piece of wood under it, like building it up so that you can level everything out. And then you can sort of set it in place. Glue it together, clamp it, whatever you need to do to get it to be level once it's installed. I mean, really, the trick here is making sure that whatever you do to fix this difference in height looks intentional, looks good, so people think, all right, you planned on doing this.
All right. Appreciate the call back, and you guys have a great day. I look forward to listening to your program every week.
All right, John, thanks so much for calling the Money Pit. Hey, Money Pit podcast fans, you want to help us out? Well, go ahead and leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, and we're going to give you a virtual high five. Plus, you'll be helping us spread the word about our show. Just go to moneypit.com/review. You know, Thanksgiving is thankfully right around the corner. And if your dining table's been doubling as a storage spot all year, well, now is the time for a reset. You want to start by giving it a good cleaning, especially if it's wood, which can benefit from a nourishing polish of simply olive oil and lemon juice. Next, you want to check for any wobbly chairs or table legs, and you want to tighten loose screws, check the brackets. A quick trick here, guys, is slide felt pads under the legs for a quieter, scuff-free dining experience, and then you can add some instant charm with a fall-inspired centerpiece. It even could be a bowl of mini pumpkins, just some scattered leaves, a few LED candles, simple, seasonal, and stress-free, which we love because this meal is delicious and it's great to spend time with your family and friends. Well, if you are thinking about updating your home, you might be wondering where is the best place to be spending your money and where you're going to see a return on that investment. So whether you're planning to sell in the next few years or you just want to boost long-term value, not all upgrades are created equal. And luckily, the latest data shows some clear winners when it comes to return on investment, and a few of them may surprise you. So first up, garage door replacement. Now, this might not be the first thing that you think of when it comes to home upgrades, but it is consistently one of the top ROI projects. Why? Well, it instantly improves your curb appeal. It's relatively affordable, and new models are more energy efficient and secure, and you can expect to recoup up to 100% of that cost, sometimes even more if you're in a competitive real estate market. Now, here's a good one. Sadly, I had to cover this expense this past summer. It's an HVAC system upgrade. Let me tell you, they are not inexpensive. Thank you. Weather, heat, all of that. But I think it's important when you're thinking of HVAC upgrades, you want to keep energy efficiency at top of mind, and the energy costs keep rising, but that new HVAC system will give you comfort and serious value. And the home buyers are looking for newer systems that won't require immediate replacement. So I guess I should move like now. New AC, new water heater, come on in. On bright side. Plus, those higher efficiency models can lower your monthly bills, and that's a very strong selling point to those prospective buyers. Now, your kitchen, it doesn't have to be a major gut remodel to see an ROI. A minor kitchen remodel like, say, resurfacing your cabinets, upgrading the appliances, replacing the countertops, adding some new hardware, all of that can return around 70 to 85% of your investment, and it gives the heart of the home a fresh, modern look without a major renovation. So that's good to know. You don't have to do a big project in the kitchen to see a big difference. Another good spot is your front entry door. It could be steel or fiberglass. This is another small project that definitely packs a punch. Replacing that front door improves security, insulation, and visual appeal, and steel doors in particular tend to yield a 60 to 90% ROI depending on your market and your materials. Also, exterior improvements, paint, siding, even stone veneer. Simply refreshing that home's exterior will definitely significantly boost that perceived value and the curb appeal. And these projects also help protect your home from the elements, and they show the buyers that you care, that the home is well maintained. So it's all about perception. And if folks are seeing that you're taking care of the home, they will immediately think that the home has a higher value. If you're planning to sell soon, try to focus on what buyers see first, outside to the inside. If you're staying put, really consider the projects that improve your day-to-day life and add equity over time. Don't just think, well, I'm going to do this because I see the biggest ROI. Do what's going to make you comfortable. I mean, it's all great to tackle these projects, and it's all smart moves that you can make as a homeowner. So let's help some more folks make those smart moves. Jim, who's up next?
All right, Leslie, we've got Dewey looking to make some real estate income here. He has a 3-unit property, and, well, 2 out of 3 ain't bad. It isn't what Meatloaf exactly meant, I don't think, but one of them's not quite ready. What is going on there, Dewey?
I bought a 3-unit building where I live in one of the units. I think it was built in about 1905. And the basement unit has a really bad odor coming from one of the rooms. Prior to moving in, the unit had some pretty bad backed up sewage that flooded some of the unit. The room in question has carpet squares and kind of confirmed the smell's coming from the drywall. The room is on sharing the exterior side of the house. So my question is how to figure out if it's from the flood, if there's leaking from the foundation, and if we do replace the drywall, making sure that that was the cause of the smell. The other thing is the exterior, there's some type of black material that was used to seal the sidewalk to the building. And what's the best way to seal that to make sure there's not leaking rainwater coming in as well?
Well, it's definitely great to have an investment unit. You know, having a building like that is so wonderful because it gives you a great return on investment. If you needed to live there, you could. But the issue here is that you've got some underlying conditions from this flood that definitely had some sewage in it, and that could be a health hazard. So you want to make sure that you tear up any of the drywall that was connected to that. And also if there was wiring, like if there was an outlet that was below that flood line, you've got to change the wiring, and you're going to have to do a fair amount of demolition there. But you would have to do it whether or not there was sewage. If there was water in the space, you would still have to change out the wiring. You would still have to remove that drywall. And it's just worse because there was sewage in the mix. And, you know, it's also kind of gross. The benefit here, guys, is that you could work with a remediation company, and they're really good at this. This is exactly what they do. They deal with leaks, they deal with floods, and not only do they get rid of anything that's impacted, they treat those wall cavities with the appropriate types of cleaning products to kill anything that's left behind, because you don't want to get biogas or have any bacteria living in there behind the wall that could make you super sick. I mean, it's definitely going to be a lot healthier if you're going to rent out that space to know that you've gone about the proper process of remediating any sort of issues from that sewage flood. But I do think you're going to have a big mess here on your hands. The other thing is the carpet. I mean, it's a really bad idea in general to have carpet. I mean, everybody loves a cozy floor, especially in a basement, but it's just a space that's so prone to moisture. There could be leaks, there could be flooding depending on the weather conditions. And even if your basement's been bone dry, you could get a crazy storm and end up with water in the basement. So you're better off having a floor that's water resistant, something that's like a solid surface that's meant to be used below grade. And then when you're all set, get a really cute area rug just to kind of make it feel cozy, and you can clean those as needed. All right, now in terms of the sidewalk that's outside, that's probably an asphalt sealant that was used between the sidewalk and the house. I mean, just generally speaking, on the outside of your house, you want to make sure that the water is draining away from the foundation, and if that sidewalk slab happens to pitch toward the house, that's a bad thing. I mean, no matter what you seal it with, you're not going to be able to stop the water from getting into that wall. So this would be a case where you would either have to tear out the concrete and replace it, or depending on how it's built, sometimes you can lift that concrete one section at a time and actually just repitch it. All right, there's a big project here, but you can definitely get it all back in working order and get that rental back on its feet.
Hey, it's Leslie. You know, I'm so excited to welcome Jones Road Beauty as a new sponsor to our podcast. They make high-grade skin products that work on every skin type and tone. I have super sensitive skin and I have rosacea, so I have to be really careful about what I put on my face. And I love Jones Road Beauty Miracle Balm, especially in the happy hour. I feel like it gives me such a nice, soft glow that works all year round. Now, Miracle Balm is a light-reflecting balm that gives your skin a fresh, healthy glow. It's a highlighter, it's a blush, it's a bronzer, and it's so much more. You can tap it on your cheeks, your lips, or as an all-over tint for an effortlessly natural look. You can layer it over your foundation to just kind of warm things up, or wear it on its own for a no makeup glow. It just works on you and on everyone. It's made with skin-loving ingredients, and it melts right in to leave your skin feeling smooth, moisturized, and comfortable. Also, just enough is a lightweight tinted moisturizer that smooths and evens your skin tone with a soft touch of coverage. It hides the redness from my rosacea, it looks natural, and it feels like nothing on my face. It's packed with hydrating ingredients to keep your skin moisturized without clogging your pores. Now, you can choose from 16 flexible shades, perfect for your busy mornings, bare skin days, or any time you want to look fresh without the fuss. Check out all their great products and place an order today at jonesroadbeauty.com. Even better, Jones Road Beauty is offering Money Pit podcast listeners a super special offer. If you use code MONEYPIT at jonesroadbeauty.com, you're going to get a free Cool Gloss lip gloss with your first purchase. So head on over to jonesroadbeauty.com and use promo code MONEYPIT to get a free Cool Gloss with your first purchase. You're going to be so happy with everything you pick out today. Well, before the big feast hits your kitchen, now is the perfect time for a tune-up. So let's start with your fridge. Go through it, toss out those expired condiments, give shelves a wipe, make room for those incoming ingredients, and of course then the leftovers, and run a vinegar rinse through your dishwasher. That's going to freshen it up, and check that your oven is ready to go. If it does need a deep clean, do it now. Do not do it like the night before you're going to roast the turkey. And don't forget the tools. Sharpen the knives, clean the cutting boards, make sure that meat thermometer works. All of this will having you thanking yourself come Thanksgiving morning. All right, Jim, let's see who's standing by.
Leslie, we've got Gail in Virginia, who's hot and cold and hot and cold. What's going on there?
I have an oil furnace that provides my heat and my hot water constantly have to adjust the water temperature in my shower.
Now, is it too hot or too cold, or what's going on?
Too hot. I've tried turning the temperature down on the furnace, but then it affects my heat, and I run out of hot water.
Now, all right, we know exactly what you've got going on here. You don't actually have a furnace. You have a boiler, and you have an indirect water heater. Is there a tank, like the tank is like a structure next to your boiler, or is it all coming straight off the boiler?
Straight off the boiler.
All right, so what you want to look for the next time you have the system serviced, you should be able to have a fix for this. There's a valve called a mixing valve, and the purpose of the mixing valve is to add cold water to that 160 or so degree water that comes right off the heating system, because you never want to have that full temperature going to your shower because you're going to get burned. All of those tankless coils, I mean, that's the system that you have, by the way. It's called a tankless coil. It's built into the boiler, and those generally do have a mixing valve, and that mixing valve adds that cold water into it. This way you have two basic ways to adjust the temperature. And as you've discovered, if you turn the temperature down for the water going through the boiler, your house isn't going to heat quite so well because the radiators aren't getting as hot. So they're really two separate purposes. You know, the water that you're using domestically for the shower shouldn't get any hotter than 110 and 120 degrees max. But for the heating system, you do need it to be higher.
Excellent.
You just need to find that mixing valve, make sure you have the technician identify it, show you how to operate it, and set it correctly because you don't want to keep messing around with this temperature difference. All right, good luck with your project.
Thank you. Bye now.
Well, hiring a contractor can feel a bit like a blind date. You kind of hope for the best, but without the right questions, things can go south fast. So whether you are remodeling a bathroom or maybe you're building a deck, the success of your project depends just as much on who you hire as it does on what you plan. So let's walk through some key steps to finding a contractor who's professional, reliable, and a right fit for the job. Well, you want to start with solid referrals. Ask friends, ask neighbors, ask your local hardware store for recommendations. Good contractors do thrive on word of mouth. And if someone's had a great experience, they will happily share those details. You also want to do a credentials check. You want to make sure that your contractor is licensed, insured, and bonded, and you want to call your local licensing authority to verify active status, and always ask for proof of liability and workers' comp insurance. This is going to protect you if something should go wrong. Now, you do want to interview more than one guy or one pro. Don't just go with the first person who returns the call.
try to meet with at least 2 or 3 contractors and use these meetings to get a feel for their communication style, their timelines, their professionalism. And we've got a few smart questions that you should be asking. First up, how many projects like my project have you completed? Will you be using subcontractors, or do you handle the job yourself? How is your payment schedule structured? What's the estimated timeline and what could affect it? And how do you handle changes or surprises that come up during the job? You also want to ask for references, and don't just look at their names on the piece of paper. Call them, email them, text them, whatever preferred method of contact there is. It is worth those 10 minutes to verify past work and that client's satisfaction. If you can, if they'll let you, try to go visit a completed project in person. Do you like it? Does it look like it was well done? Is it holding up? Also, get everything in writing. Your contract should clearly spell out scope of work, the materials, the payment schedule, start and end dates, and any warranty details that may, happen to pop up during that job. Vague contracts are really a red flag. If it's not in writing, it is not enforceable. And sometimes you need that whatever in writing to say, hey, we said this was going to happen, or we were on this timeline, or X, Y, and Z. And having that in the contract is definitely going to help you. And here's one last tip. Never pay 100% upfront. A fair deposit is going to be 10 to 30%, and then payments should align with specific project milestones. When you finish X, you get this next percentage. When you finish this, you get that next, and so forth. If you take the time to vet those contractors properly, you will save yourself time, money, and a whole heck of a lot of stress. And you're going to be that much closer to a finished project that you can be proud of. Because let me tell you, even a project that's going smoothly is stressful. You're sort of outplaced in your own home. Things are moved around. Things are dusty. The dogs are barking. The kids can't do their work. You're eating out a lot. It's kind of a mess. So if you pick the person that's right for the job and you feel like you have a trustworthy relationship and everything is in writing to protect you, it's going to make it that much more enjoyable. And you should try to enjoy it because the outcome is going to be fantastic. All right, you guys? Okay, let's get back to the phones.
Leslie, I have a follow-up question for you on that. Since you are the finance goddess,
Oh, yeah.
Here's what I'm thinking. If you could find a contractor willing to take it, wouldn't it be pretty smart to put it on a credit card? That way, if you did no show or didn't do proper work, you'd have an additional layer of recourse?
I mean, I've never worked with a contractor who accepted a credit card. And you know me, I'm all about miles. I don't think I've paid for an airplane ticket. I mean, I have paid for an airplane ticket through purchasing other things, but I don't think I've actually put a credit card down for a flight in years and years and years. I love points. So for me, if I can put it on a card, you got it. So if that works, I would say the only thing is I don't know if, certain credit card companies will back you if something is stolen or something breaks. I'm not sure how that works with a service. So that would be a good question to ask your credit card provider. Well, with guests coming and cozy season in full swing, now is the time to add a little sensory comfort. Scented candles with notes of cinnamon, apple, or vanilla will instantly give your home a warm, welcoming feel. You want to swap out those lighter summer throws and pillows for the chunkier knits and the flannel textures. I mean, they're kind of small changes, but they do make a big difference. And don't underestimate the power of a well-placed rug to ground a space. You can add a touch of fall color underfoot. Comfort is key, especially when you've got people lingering long after dessert. But don't make them too comfy because then they never leave.
Oh, the furnace went out. My goodness.
Yeah.
Well, folks, I think it's time to...
Yeah, something like that. Just the right amount. Not too much, but don't make it awful. But just enough. Just enough. All right. Before you go kicking everybody out, see if they have a home improvement question. Well, as we head into the last stretch of fall, now is the time to give your yard one final cleanup to protect your landscape from winter damage and give it the best possible start come springtime. So let's break it down into some simple steps. First of all, a final leaf cleanup. I feel like it's never a final leaf cleanup. But, call it the final leaf cleanup and then just be done with it after it. I mean, raking's not the most fun fall task, but letting those leaves pile up can suffocate the grass. It promotes mold. It invites pests. You can rake or mulch them with a mower. And if you have a compost bin, now is the time to load it up. Those dry leaves are gold when you pair them with food scraps over the winter season. And pro tip, use that tarp to move those big piles of leaves quickly. So just pile it on top of the tarp, drag it to the curb. And if you've got a leaf blower or a leaf vacuum, your yard's on the larger side, it's definitely a great investment. Definitely look into them when they go on sale, like in this time period, pre-holiday, end of fall. I have a leaf blower. I use it on the small patch of turf I have in my backyard. It's the best thing ever. I really enjoy it. All right. Next, you want to prune dead or damaged branches from trees and shrubs. This will help prevent breakage from snow or ice, and it keeps those plants healthier overall. You just want to hold off on any sort of major shaping, especially for spring bloomers, since pruning now could cut off the flower buds. Also, you want to cut back spent perennials. So if you see like a dead-headed flower on top, cut it down to the bottom, not all the way gone, but you know what I'm saying, like cut it down. Otherwise, it's just expending energy trying to get that flower to come back to life, and it's not gonna. It also will help reduce the risk of disease. Now, for the hoses and the irrigation systems, you have to drain them well because that frozen water will expand, and that could mean burst hoses, cracked spigots, broken irrigation lines if you're not careful. So disconnect and drain your hose, shut off exterior water lines, blow out or drain in-ground sprinkler systems. You could definitely hire a pro for that part because they have the tools that will really get all of the water out of there. And now is the time to give your lawn a boost. If you haven't already, a fall lawn fertilizer formulated for root development is what you need. It's going to help your lawn.
Excuse me, Miss Segretti?
What'd I do?
A fall what?
Lawn fertilizer? What did I say?
About 6 F's in a row there, I heard. Roll that by me again.
I'm really trying to just work on the word usage here, mister.
You amaze me. You could do that.
I'm trying.
Okay.
I'm telling you, old lady, lack of sleep, it becomes complicated at times. Words are challenging.
Continue,
so I gotta write it all down. Fall lawn fertilizer formulated for root development. There you go. Did it again.
Thank you. Carry on.
So that will definitely help your lawn green up faster in the springtime. And if your area stays warm well into the fall, mowing one last time at a slightly lower height can prevent snow mold. Who knew? Snow mold's a thing on the lawn. And of course, you want to stow and store all of those garden tools, drain and put away gas-powered equipment like your mowers and your trimmers, and cover or store that patio furniture. This just prevents rust. It's going to extend the life of all of your gear. And then you're kind of, at a head start when the springtime rolls around. So I know it's kind of not the project you want to be doing, but it's a good project. So when the weather is nice, you can kind of just start to enjoying the backyard rather than working on it so much then. All right. Hope that motivates you to spend one last weekend with those very few hours of daylight working outside. Because, extra hour, right? Jim Kenzie with his favorite part.
Da, 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 da. It is my favorite part. We have an email question from Aaron. He reached out and he says, I'm buying a house that has been sitting vacant for the past year or so. And I'm curious if y'all, and yes, it says y'all, got any tips.
I feel like, do you have to put a notification on your computer like, I live in the South and I would like my writing to reflect my speech pattern?
Well, you can pick your voice on GPS and stuff. Why not?
I guess. So instead of like your computer automatically spell checks to y'all. That would be awesome.
Anyway, Aaron needs some tips on how to rejuvenate a 10 by 10 garden in the backyard and wants to know if there's things he can do in the fall now to benefit himself in the spring. Great question.
Yeah, that is a good question, Aaron. And I mean, there definitely is. First of all, you should be pulling out any plants that are in there now, probably tilling the garden. You can rototill. Rototilling is kind of a great tool or step to take when it comes to prepping soil for planting or prepping it for fertilizer for the season, because you're turning the soil, but you're also kind of aerating it and poking holes in it. So it's really kind of reinvigorating the soil for the next season or for the current planting season. And that's when you would add in the fertilizer or the soil additive to just kind of freshen everything up and rejuvenate that soil. So that's great. Also think about hardscaping, fences, any sort of patio. Look at that. You want to kind of make sure that the fences are in good shape, or maybe add some if you need to, or maybe turn part of it into a small patio area where you can enjoy a coffee and sit in the morning. But I would definitely think about, with this type of garden bed, get rid of leaves, debris. You want to get it out of there. If there are any perennials that are sort of thriving right now that you know will come back next year, but maybe they're overgrown from neglect, you can divide them at this time and replant them. So kind of look at everything that you have. Till, fertilize, compost if you do that, cover everything with mulch just to kind of keep that garden and flower bed on the warmer side so that it does well come springtime. If you're going to add anything new, now's kind of a good time to take a look around and think about what you could add, even if it's as simple as a few paver blocks to create a little patio or a pathway or something. So lots that you can be doing with the garden this time of year. All right, what about Pam? Do we have time for Pam?
I think we can squeeze Pam in here. She wants to know if it's possible to insulate the outside of the house to stop condensation on the basement wall. It's mostly on her north wall.
Well, Pam, generally it's happening because the north is usually the coldest wall, and it's the concrete kind of meets with the ground. It's not really insulated by the ground at that point in that little area that's sticking above. And you've got a nice warm house, warm, moist air in the basement that's basically hitting that cold north wall. And then it just kind of gives up at that point, and it starts to cool, and then it releases the moisture. And that's all just coming from, lack of insulation. If you can insulate on the inside, there are specific types of insulation made for basement walls. You can even just use some foam like a dowel board and put that on the basement wall, and that will stop that surface from being able to release the moisture. It's all about controlling the moisture, controlling the temperature differences, and that should do the trick. And that's a wrap for this hour of the Money Pit. We have covered a lot of ground today, from keeping your fridge clean and running efficiently just in time for all of those holiday leftovers to getting your yard spring ready in the fall. Who knew? Well, whether you are planning big projects or just tackling a few weekend touch-ups, remember, it's all about protecting your home now so it works harder for you later. I'm Leslie Segretti, and I'll be back next time with even more ways to help you create your best home ever. Remember, catch the podcast anytime at moneypit.com or wherever you get your favorite shows. See you next time. Remember, you can do it yourself, but you don't have to do it alone.
On the Money Pit Radio Show. On the Money Pit Radio Show. Pick up the telephone. Fix up your home sweet home by calling 888.